Reduce your taxes with this strategy. So just read this article, very interesting, on taxprofblog.com. And these professors had written an article about taxing capital gains higher at death than at life. I said, that's actually kind of interesting strategy. And I was talking to some people this weekend when I was gone. And I said, my sister and I, because she's in this business too, and she's a hell of a lot smarter than I. Not better looking, of course, but smarter. Anyway, so telling these people, it's like, one of the things that you can do to reduce your tax burden to your generation, your multi-generational wealth. And that sounds like, I don't have multi-generational wealth. You do if you leave money to your heirs. Is to pull money out of your IRA while you're in a 12 to 22% tax bracket, pay the tax on it, as opposed to leaving it to your surviving spouse, which will be a single taxpayer. I talk about this all the time in my YouTube channel and my books. But even worse would be leaving it to your kids in their higher earning tax years. So let me just give you an example. Right now, I'm in the highest earning tax year ever. So let's just say my mom died. She left me $100,000. Let's say my mom just lives on Social Security. So she'll probably pay tax. Let's say she took that tax at $100,000 and she's not married, and she paid 12%. All right, and let's just say she said, okay, I'm going to pay 12%. I'm going to put it in a brokerage account. All right, so I'm going to have a $100,000 distribution from my IRA. I'm going to pay 12%. I'll net $88,000. I'll put that $88,000 in a brokerage account. That brokerage account will just say it doubles to it's like $176,000. All right, by the time she dies in 10 years. If I don't do that, I leave $200,000 of pre-tax money to my kids. My kids will inherit that money at their higher earning years. And again, 10 years from now, I'll be 65. But, just for simplicity, we'll just say I'm still making sweet financial money off YouTube. And we'll just say between my brother, my sister, and me, we're all on the effective tax rate of 25%, just for simplicity. So basically what my mom has done by doing this strategy is she's avoiding $200,000 being taxed at 25%, thus $150,000 making its way to us. And instead she paid $12,000 of tax and $176,000, 88,000 times 2, it's $186,000, whatever it is, went to our kids, to her kids at that stage tax-free. All right, so she's avoiding a 25% tax for us. Instead, she's paying a 12% tax to avoid a 25% tax. That's a good strategy to do. Now, again, whether or not she wants to do it, will give my mom. She doesn't want to do it. Not that she has that kind of money anyway, but it depends. Situation dictates, of course. So one of the things you do is say, okay, I'm going to spend down my IRA. Well, I'm going to reduce my IRA. I'm going to pay the 12% tax ban right now, because I'm not making any money. I just got Social Security, IRA distributions. Maybe I got pension. So that way my kids don't pay a 25% tax when they inherit that IRA. If I want to increase the amount of money I leave to my estate or my heirs, that's absolutely unequivocally the way to do it. Does that make sense? Again, you're paying 12% now, pay the tax ban. That way your kids can receive the money tax-free, can step up basis. And then when they get it, they don't have any taxes to pay. Thus, they avoid whatever their tax bracket is. So they send it, again, effective 25% tax bracket. Now, let's just say, though, they're an effective 25% tax bracket, state and feds, but then that money they inherit from you might put them in a 33%, 35% or something like that. And it might increase their capital gains and whatnot. You see what I'm saying? Because they're now making money. On top of the money they made from you, they're making their own income because they're in their 50s and 60s. Now you're losing a quarter. More than a quarter. You're losing a third of your net worth, of your inherited assets to the tax man, because you didn't strategize on how to reduce your taxes. Now, this doesn't work all the time. I got tons of people with big pensions, Social Security, IRA distributions, and they're in a 22% tax bracket as it is. But the question is, how much are you leaving to your kids? On top of that, give the Trump tax bill to TCJA. You only have 10 years to distribute that money. So let's just say you leave $1 million, I should say, to your one child. Let's say you got one child, to leave $1 million. They got to take that money out, $100,000 a year, until the thing is exhausted. It has to be exhausted by 10 years. That's an extra $100,000, essentially a 22% tax at the very minimum right there, unless they're not making any money. So they're losing right on the gate, because it has to be exhausted by year 10. So essentially, you're saying of that $1 million, they're only going to receive $780,000 at the best. It might be lower than that, depending on their circumstance, because they have to take it out within 10 years. If they take out $200,000 in 5 years, they're going to be in the 22-24% tax bracket, depending on what their income tax bracket is. And we got to plan this stuff. If leaving a legacy to your kids is important, as well it should be. Look, I tell clients all the time, no reason for you to fly coach so your kids can fly first class, but let's just say you want to help your kids have pay down on a home. Let's just say you want to help a grandkid with, going to trade school. Whatever, because we don't want to go to college anymore because that's silly. But let's just say you want to help your kids, anyway. You know what I'm saying? And you're like, I'm going to leave money to my kids come hell or high water, but I don't want to leave them a 25% tax bracket when I could pay 12% right now. I don't want to give the IRS more than the IRS gets. Give to Caesar what Caesar, but that doesn't mean you have to give Caesar more than what he demands. And it was just something I think about. And just reading this article about taxing capital gains at a higher rate at death as opposed to at life, very interesting. I want to look a little bit deeper in this because I actually kind of like that strategy. What we want to do is we want to help the young generation have houses. We want to help the young generation with their financial situations so that way they get married, have babies and stuff. And we are having all this money locked up in the unrealized gains in IRAs. That's not good for helping up-and-comers. It's just not. We want to unleash that so we can help these kids. How do I get through to these kids? How do I get through to these kids? And if we can do that, dude, it's just going to be better for society. It really is. It's better for society when young generations feel more financially situated that they can buy a house, have babies. Right now, it's in a race to the bottom, and we got to stop that for sure. And there's some other studies I've been reading too about how to encourage people to have babies and whatnot. Start households younger and everything. And it's very interesting stuff. A lot of good dynamics going on out there. Of course, everyone says, "Oh, this is a left-wing thing. It's a right-wing thing." Now, this is beyond left and right wing, dude. Your society needs children. Your society needs married couples. It's well above beyond right and left. It's you got to get over this crap. And I tell you, for me, it took forever to get over it. Now I'm over it. It's like funny when I hear people like, "Oh, so you want to raise taxes?" Yeah, in some regard, I do. If it helps advance society with babies and stuff, unequivocally. I used to fall for this crap too. And you got to get over that crap. Well, the AOC would propose that. Well, maybe in this case, and I'm just using AOC. Maybe in this case, this one time, she's not stupid. 99 times out of 100, she's dumb. I get you. But one time, she might be right. Maybe this one time, Trump's wrong. I'm just picking on Trump. It doesn't matter. Anyway, something to think about. God bless. We'll see you.